Hey guys, I wanted to just finish up the notes that we did not finish last class. I left a couple extras with the sub, but I wasn't sure if this is where we stopped or we stopped at inverse, so I just want to kind of retouch on this. So if we already did this, just fast forward me. As you're watching this, please pause, rewind, fast forward. I might talk fast because I already have the work done, but pause it and work with it. So change of base formula lets us change the base of the log to a new base, to any base we want at all. So here's our formula right up here of what we can do. So we can change it to be log to base b, and then using natural log, we can get on down there. So for example, for this one, I can write it as log 8 over log 4, just like, see, I went log 8, so log m, this one right here, and then over log 4. That's one way I could do it. I could also write it using natural log, ln of 8 over ln of 4. Same thing. I could also, if I look at part B, I can do it even if it's a fraction. So I can use this guy up here and write it as log 29 over log 1/2, or make it natural log. I think you see where I'm going with this. Make sure that this number, so the 8, the 29, now the 3 over 4, is the one that's on top. That's what's important to remember. So log 3/4 over log 13, or ln of 3/4 over ln of 13. And even if it's a pi, if it's a square root, it doesn't matter. Log square root of 387 over log pi, or natural log. We're going to use that, which is why I just wanted to make sure that we did that. Like I said, I don't remember where we stopped. So today we're going to be solving. So as I click through these, like I said, make sure to pause me and stuff. I'm going to show you how to solve one way, 3 different equations, and then I'm going to show you the same 3 equations and how to solve it the other way. So here we go. These are our options, turning log or taking the natural log. Both ways is correct. Just like back here, both of these were correct. So if I look at part A, I can turn it into a log. We did this a while ago when we did the ben and the bne. So turn it to a log and just rewrite it. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's not going to be x is 5 and you're moving on. Eventually we'll get there, but right now we're just simplifying it, making sure that x is by itself. That's the goal. Part B, again, turn it to a log. So there we go. So I wrote log 8, 24 equals x plus 5. We were at ben, and I went to bne. From there, I want to isolate my x. So once I turn it to a log, I want to get x alone. So in order to do that, I'm just going to subtract the 5 on both sides. So here we are, log base 8, 24, minus 5 equals x. That's my final answer. Like I said before, guys, if you need to pause me, please do. Okay, so C, same exact thing. Turn it to a log. So ben, ben, goes to bne, and then isolate the x. This has an extra step in there because it's a 3x minus 1, not just an x plus 5. So I move over the 1, so by adding, because it's subtraction up here, and then I divide by 3. This is now my final answer. Okay, with that being said, you can do it that way, or you can take the natural log. Both ways are going to work. Nice about the log, it might be simpler, less steps. Nice about the natural log, you don't have to worry about a base. So it kind of just depends on your preference, but you can do both. So, for example, up here, I'm going to take the ln. So I just ln both sides. That's it. ln both sides and move on. Well, then remember, we have to bump that exponent over from x up here to out here. So I bump that over. And then again, I want to isolate x. So I divide by the ln of 4 on both sides. So there is my answer. Now, let's remember, back on the last slide, I have ln of 15 ln over ln of 4, log base 4, 15. That's the same thing. If my a is 4 and my m is 15, it would be ln of 15 over ln of 4. These are the same thing. Both ways are correct. Might not be as obvious in these more complicated problems, but it is the same thing. So for b, if I wanted to do this and take the ln of both sides, we just natural log both sides, bump out the exponent like we did last time. So now I'm at here. I took this x plus 5, bumped it on out. And then I have to distribute. So I have to distribute this ln 8 to the x and to the 5. So here we go. Now this is when it's getting a little more complicated. We still need to isolate the x though. So locate where your x is. Here it is. And we need to get that alone. So just like we would if this was just a number, I'm just going to subtract this whole 5 ln of 8 from both sides because I want to isolate x. The ln 8 just goes with it. We're just moving the whole thing over. And just like you would if this was anything else, to get x alone, I would divide. If it was just an 8, I would just divide by 8. The ln just goes with it. So I divide by ln of 8 on both sides, so I get my final answer. Looks like a lot of writing, but you're treating it just like numbers, and the ln is just going with whatever it's glued to. So it's glued to the 8, so it moves over. 5 ln of 8, they're glued together. They move together. So then for C, by the way, same thing, right? 24 minus 5. If that was my m, that one's on top. There it is, ln 24 minus 5. 8, those are my 8s. Okay, so part C. Natural log both sides. There we go. Bump the exponent to the front. Try to finish this one. Pause me and try to finish it. Okay. Distribute. Don't forget that minus sign. People are going to forget it. Don't let it be you. So now I have 3x ln 2, because I distributed, minus ln 2 equals ln 44. I still want the x alone. So I'm going to take this minus ln 2 and I'm going to add it to both sides. Still want the x alone. So what I did was I divided by the ln of 2 and by the 3 because I want the x alone. So you can see I divided by the ln of 2 and then I got 3x equals ln 44 plus ln 2 over ln 2. And I realized there was still a 3 there, so then I just divided on both sides, which is where this is coming from. So this is my final answer with that 3 on the bottom too. Okay, so those are the two different ways you can do it. Sometimes the log is easier than the ln. Ln is easier than log. It just kind of depends on what question you're presented. So let's solve a couple logarithmic equations, and then we'll move on. So I want you to change this. This doesn't look very nice, but change it to log 6 and log 6, log base 6. It'll just be easier that way. The other way won't work out. So change it to log base 6. I'm going to leave the 3x and the x minus 1. So the first thing I do, actually, I need to add another box. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So the first thing I want to do is I want to condense this. So to condense it, I want to combine these. Remember, if they have the same base, we can combine them. So I'm going to just combine them, and when we combine, we multiply. So I have log base 6, 3x, x minus 1 equals 3. After I condense it, I'm going to distribute that 3x. So log base 6, 3x squared minus 3x equals 3. Now, I'm going to do what I was just doing. I'm going to rewrite it. So this is the Ben and BNE. This is in BNE. I want to turn it to Ben. So 6 to the third equals 3x squared minus 3x. So this was BNE. I changed it to BEN so we could solve it. This is the next step. So what we did last time, we could have kept going, but it was going to be extra. So from here, this is why I need another box. I see a lot of exponents. So I'm going to move them all around so that I have a quadratic. By the way, the 216 comes from 6 cubed. I moved that over and I cubed the 6. And then I can factor. So first step is a GCF. And then I said, okay, what two numbers are going to multiply to give me negative 72 that add to negative 1? And the answer is negative 9 and 8. And I solved. Now, notice how I got 9, I got negative 8. Remember that 3 just goes away because 3 does not equal 0. So let's remember when I have logs, in the parentheses has to be positive. So if I plugged a negative 8 in here, I would have negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. No go. That's an extraneous solution. That's why 9 is my only answer here. So there may be times where you get 2, but you just need to make sure you check. So for part B, I don't have to condense anything because I'm not adding or subtracting. I just have a straight up logarithm here. So I'm going to rewrite this. This is in the BNE, so I write it as Ben. And then I did 4 squared. Okay, well that's 16. And then I subtracted. When I plug 13 in here, positive, we're good. Okay, so part C, we need to condense. I have 2 like bases, the 2's are like bases. So I'm going to condense them. And remember, when we condense, we multiply. So log base 2, x times x minus 7 equals 3. Next step, we're going to distribute that x. So it becomes x squared minus 7x. And just like we did in part A, rewrite. So BNE becomes Ben. I'm going to make that 2 cubed an 8 and move it on over. And then I'm going to factor and solve. If I plug an 8 in here, cool, we're with positive. If I plug a negative 1 in here, negative, no go, extraneous, my only answer is 8. Make sure you're checking. Okay, part D, I have natural log. So I want to get that by itself though, because this 6 is out here. Like notice how we didn't have any other ones like that? Get it so that this way you only have logs or natural logs like together. So add the 6. So ln 4x equals 14. Remember, to undo a natural log, that's when we do the e. So when I rewrote the natural log the other day, it was e to this number, so the 14 equals 4x. And by the other day, I mean before this notation. And then divide by 4 on both sides, and we're good. That's it. We only got one answer, so if I were to plug that in, we're positive, we are wonderful. Okay, so the next thing is what you're going to see next year in pre-cal. So I want you to pause me and try to solve I will give you a hint. You're going to need to rewrite them as natural logs. That's my hint for you. So pause me. Try it. Okay. Welcome back. I hope you actually paused me. So I rewrote as natural logs. Cool. Bump those exponents over. Now, the reason why this one is more complicated than the other ones, which you might see, is we need to distribute on both sides. So I need to distribute the ln of 3 to here, and the ln of 5 to here and here. So once I do that, distribute, here we are. Now, notice how I have x ln of 3 plus 4 ln of 3 equals 2x ln 5 minus 5 ln 5. Like, it's cool, ln, same number, great, but we still want, just like any other equation, all the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other side. So I'm going to move stuff around. I want to bring the x ln 3 over here and the ln 5 over here. So here we are. All right, crooked. So 4 ln 3 plus 5 ln 5, because minus here, 2x minus ln 5 minus, 2x ln 5 minus x ln 3. Brought that one on over. Now, we got to solve. We got to get this x alone. If I just treat this ln 5 like anything else, like it's just a number, I still have 2x times whatever minus x times whatever. So I can factor out an x there. I can't combine anything because they're different things. But I can still factor out an x. So I'm still stuck here. I can't do anything here because they're different natural logs, 3 and 5. And then I have my x, 2 ln 5 minus ln 3. I pulled out the x from here, so I was left with 2. Pulled the x out from here, so I was just left with 1. So then to get x alone, all you have to do is divide by this whole thing. Boom. That was a lot. That's what you're going to see next year when you're solving exponential equations. But you just need to see that it's similar to a regular equation, that ln, like I said before, is just kind of glued on there. So there's that. I left 7.5 and 7.6 with the sub, the homework for that. I know it says homework, but I want you to do that now. I will upload the answer key to it. And when I am back on Thursday, we will go over that and we're going to do some applications. Then we will review and then you will have your test. So I hopefully am going to update that calendar. This way when you walk in, you will see everything nice and beautiful. So make sure you get all these notes. Go back through if you need to. Rewatch it, rewind it, fast forward it, pause it, whatever you have to do. And work on that worksheet with your group. See if you can get it. Check out the answer key. Make sure that you're kind of getting that pattern, and then we're going to go over it when I come back. So thank you for listening, and please be good for this sub. Bye, guys.